Welcome back to Trauma and Tea. I'm Matt, this is Moll, and today we're here with Eva, who's here to talk to us about children's mental health, specifically with young women. As we know, men's mental health has been a big issue for men under the age of 45, but women's mental health, particularly in young girls, is becoming a growing issue. So we're happy you're here to talk to us today about these issues.
There's lots of layers to the story, so we're going to all the things that she's been through. So we're going to try and there's some things obviously you don't want to discuss, and there's some things you do. So we're going to try and navigate around that, okay? And we'll do our best to.
And I think we should just also say that Eva is Molly's daughter as well.
Yeah, Eva's my daughter. We haven't picked up a random kid. Right then. So, where do we start? Joe, the list of questions you want to start with? How did we see?
So what is it like to be a young girl in today's age?
It's like, it can be difficult. It is, they can be girls your age as well. They give you trouble. I went through a lot before I had to move schools. There was a big drama for no reason, and girls are just really hard on each other nowadays for no reason, and boys can be terrible too. They are horrible to girls. They're either pulling you down, or they are just begging for sexual stuff, and you feel pressured. There's a lot of pressure to be a bit older than who you are. It is a lot of pressure to be a teenager now. I don't know how I was when you were younger, my age, but it is hard. I think it was pressure back then as well. I mean, we kind of understand the pressure of social media and stuff. Yeah. But we're lucky we didn't have that. But the pressure of being a certain way was definitely there when I was a kid, and you.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any different. I just think it probably is amplified by the fact that now it's all on the phone. Like if you take a picture and you send
I think that's it.
We didn't have that, did we?
Yeah, I think that's it. We came home from school maybe we got to shut it off a bit more. Where today it's everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, on social media, like a lot of people compare themselves to almost always edited people. Yeah, a lot of things are edited, and let's be honest. Yeah. You realise them now? Yeah, I've grown a lot from where I was a year ago. So you're not like I can now speak openly about mostly everything because I'm a lot different to then. I'm more confident in myself now. Yeah. Do you remember the time that you first started struggling with your mental health? Well, like how do you know how old you was? Honestly, I think I was about 10. That's when I started to feel it. Like, it's a really young age, but I think around lockdown, that's when I started to get, like, hard for me. Did you feel like lockdown was the begin? Like, do you think that made it worse, or was you grateful for lockdown? Or I think it was. Lockdown, everyone was obviously on social media a lot more, posted a lot more, and then see, in social media, there's a lot of people talking about depression as well, and then, like, I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes it can kind of reflect onto you, and then I think that's how it started, really, and then I actually started to feel it, like. Okay, so do you think, but by these people, do you mean they're people who are like, look at me, I'm depressed? Yeah. Is it like a stigma? People want to be depressed. Yeah, there's a lot of people, like, posting but won't say anything. It's very like they tend to wave around their self-harm like it's a fucking trophy. Their scars, like, obviously there's no problem with scars, but like these people want the attention. It's almost encouraging it.
Yeah, I think it's also like there's a lot to do with like the algorithms as well, isn't it? Like especially TikTok, it shows you more of the same.
Yeah, you start looking for something and it'll stop pushing them. What, literally, like even now, I will, like a TikTok that I find relatable, it can be slightly depressing and upsetting, right? But it doesn't, like, mean I want to see all them. And all of a sudden I'm having, like, videos and videos for hours, days of like really depressing things, and it's like I find TikTok does actually push these videos forward more than like things that encourage you to be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I'm gonna bring up then. Obviously, you're saying you're 10 when you think you started to feel it started coming on. Where did it go from there? Was it like, how many years did it take to get to the point of the other things that happened?
Honestly, I was 11 when I first started self-harm. It wasn't like, I first started when I was 10, but I started to get like serious when I went up into comprehensive, because that's when it kind of got tough. Like, I don't know how to put it. It's like there was a lot more people around you, and there was people who didn't like you, and just like there was more drama.
Do you feel that if there wasn't so much stuff on the internet promoting it, would you have done it or continued to do it?
I think I would have done it, but I felt with TikTok, I felt pushed because I was already depressed. I was seeing people on TikTok saying they were depressed, so they were cutting themselves. Do you know what I mean? I felt like pressured to do it. I think obviously I had the urge there already, but TikTok didn't help. I felt like, oh well, if I'm depressed, I need to do this because otherwise I'm not relevant. Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah. So you feel like you promoted it a bit?
Yeah.
Can you just tell me what the with that urge, what was it that attracted you to self-harm as kind sort of an outlet?
I don't know why. I just felt like I wanted to. It was kind of like an experiment thing with the TikTok thing, because I was seeing people saying stuff all about it, kind of promoting it, and I was like, well, I wanted to kind of experiment with this be an outlet. And there was also the urge to kind of hurt myself already, because I didn't feel like
yourself.
I felt like I deserved to be hurt.
Yeah, I think we've all relate to that at some point with depression. That's quite normal. So really what happened is you're a young girl that already experiences that self-hurt, and then you go on social media and
they just push it.
Yeah, and they push it on you, and you feel that that's what happened.
Yeah.
Were there many friends around at that time doing it as well?
Well, I think so. Not everyone is like open about it. I had, I think 2 or 3 friends that were doing it, but nobody actually spoke about it, because that's another thing TikTok did. It kind of pushed people who were depressed who couldn't open up, and I think it made me feel like I wasn't able to open up, and I wasn't supposed to. That's not how it works, and I think it was the same with all my friends at the time.
So it became a bit of a secret.
Yeah.
It sucked you in, and it was a secret with you and TikTok.
Yeah, I felt like TikTok kind of, it made me believe like I wasn't supposed to open up about it, like I'm not allowed.
So how long after that, was a year after that, then you attempted to suicide? But before that,
well, before the one that was a very serious one, there was obviously a lot more, but obviously weren't as successful as Salon almost was. But yeah, there was lots more.
You also struggled with your eating.
Yeah, that's another thing that everyone struggles with now.
Again, TikTok?
I find it is, yeah.
Or just social media in general?
Yeah, everything is really social media in general, but TikTok kind of is the main one, because it's one of the main ones that I use now in my generation. So, like, you see people on TikTok and they're skinny, and you're like, wow, I want to be like them. And I think that is a big part in my weight loss. Like, and honestly, I've got people around me who would still, like, affected by it now, and or because they see people online who they don't believe they're good enough. Like, I don't struggle there anymore, but from my friends now, honestly, they're tiny, they've got an amazing body,
but you got an amazing figure. I always told you, and you still carried on not eating, or your patterns of eating were really erratic.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd overeat, sometimes you wouldn't eat, and
Just pause a sec. Can you just come pull the seat forward a tiny bit and just just carry out the camera with it? That's it.
I haven't moved.
Yeah.
Try again. Empty drink. What did I say?
Eating.
Yeah. See, your eating was quite erratic. You were not eating, and then you were eating. Was that again just another form of self-harm, or did you not understand at the time?
It was everything, really. It was a form of self-harm. It was coming down to acts that I just really didn't feel like eating with everything going on in my head. I didn't want to eat. There was also just pushing to starve myself because I wanted to be smaller and I wanted like a better figure.
Body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And then anytime I told you, you just didn't believe me.
It's always going to be like that for everyone. Like, I speak about my friends now. I find they're a good example because I don't go through it anymore, but I can see now how it kind of worked from their perspective. I've got, like, I'll tell my friends that, like, how amazing their body is, and they just won't listen. They know, like, and I don't think anyone will, it doesn't matter who tells you. I don't even think, even if a celebrity said, wow, your body is amazing, it honestly has to come from yourself. If that makes sense. Like, it doesn't matter how many other people tell you you're beautiful, you won't believe it until you have that self-growth.
What do you think it was that made you grow? Did the suicide help you grow in a way, or?
It was a life lesson for me to never do again. There was my brother there.
And how old was you?
I was 12, I think. You're okay. So like, yeah, so, like, it made me realise that I didn't want to do it again because of the people I was hurting. Like, there was you, there was my brother there, and even for a while after, I think I even traumatised my brother because he used to ask and, like, say, oh, is Eva okay? And has she been silly and taking them tablets again? It was terrible what I did to her, and I always be guilty for that.
It's not, you should never blame yourself, Eva, you know, it's not your fault, you know. For me, I think it's important to talk about it then, because obviously you're on it as a man. Can you remember my reaction?
Yeah. So what I remember was I was lying in the bed and you, well, not in an abusive way. I think it was more of an anger way. I remember you standing in the door, well, I couldn't see you, but I remember you standing in the doorway and being like, just honestly debating if you were going to do anything, and you even walked off. I remember you in your footsteps go down my mountain and like, George, she'll stay, she can die. And, well, at the time I was like, whoa, my mother was allowed to make her have her own troubles at that time. But I look back on it and I think it's just a case of like, just how angry you were.
No, I was. I think this is the thing that people don't understand when you walk in on your child and they're choking on their own vomit, that it's not just painful. There is an element of anger. Every single emotion that you could possibly think of runs through your head. And there was an element of, all right then, Eva, you'd been on this bad journey for a long time, as you'd said. I was exhausted. Other things we can't discuss had happened in the run-up, and it was all too much for me when I saw that, and I felt your pain, and I honestly sat there at one point and I thought, well, I don't know if I can save you for you to do this to me again. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's a really mixed up thing to say, but it was logical to me at the time, because at the time I was like, do you know what, fuck you then. That's how I felt. I felt like, fuck you then. If you want to do this to me and leave me here like this after everything I've done, and And I wasn't I was trying to, I cared, and you're right, I did, I left, and I rang the ambulance, and they told me it was going to be 3 hours, and she's choking on a vomit now.
That's another thing that's a joke, the NHS.
The NHS, complete nightmare. I kind of sat there, and I thought, what am I doing? It was under a minute, probably, but it felt like forever. And run up the stairs and obviously put her into recovery, and I was saving her. But for a split second, I did actually walk away, and I thought, whatever. And I have talked to a couple of people, and they have actually said, they had similar reactions or similar thoughts to react like that. Do you know what I mean? So I picked on myself a lot, thinking that was awful what I did. I should never have done that. And I'm glad that you can see it from that point of view at such a young age even now, because honestly, you will never understand the pain.
That's a lot of...
Yeah, I hope you never do.
In that moment when you decided to do that suicide attempt, what was you feeling in that moment?
I think it was more of an anger thing. Wow, I'd just gone through something, and something like, I don't know, I was just kind of, I had these tablets waiting in my drawer just for the right time. And I remember looking at my drawer and I was thinking, fuck off then. Because honestly, I think deep down, I thought it wouldn't work like every other time. It was just going to be like,
So you felt a bit,
I had my own shock when it actually happened. Because I was like, whoa. It made me realise, actually, I don't want that.
Is it anything with Suicide Online promoting that? So?
Yes. And that. Well, when TikTok used to push some things to me a lot, there was always just constantly talking about how I don't want to be here tomorrow, don't know if I can do this anymore, and there's always people in the comment section saying their own side of things, and oh yeah, I just want to die, la 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 la, and it's I find TikTok pushed that a lot.
What part of it didn't? What I don't understand is, if you say to us, but you have, I didn't want to be, I wanted to die. What part of it shocked you when you took them? Is it because you'd had it worked before?
It's because it never worked like that before, and I was like, whoa, why?
Do you think you really wanted to die?
No,
He was angry.
Yeah, I think I was angry with myself, and then I just reacted on impulse, and then, I ended up in shock, and you did too.
Yeah, if I hadn't come upstairs, I was about to leave to go out. It was Easter holidays, and I was about to go out today, and I literally, because she hadn't ate again, I had literally only made her an hot dog, and I called her, and she hadn't responded, and I was like, she's being rude again. So I'd gone up there to have another go to her, because at the time there was a lot of this going on, and I was like, you're so rude. And as I walked in, I could see her gurgitating, and I thought, oh my God, and it was just a massive shock. Did you feel like you couldn't reach out to me at the time? Or was it just that you couldn't see what I was saying when you did talk at the time?
I just didn't feel like I could. Obviously, TikTok plays social media played a big part in that, because it pushes how don't feel like they can talk, and then it made me feel like I couldn't. But there was also that element of how we were struggling with our own relationship at that time. I felt quite shut down anytime I try to open up to you back then. Obviously, it's not the case now. But I don't bring each other now, and we've grown up. But back then, I felt like every time I possibly tried to say anything, it was always an argument, or I was dismissed.
Mm-hmm. When you look back in hindsight to even back then, what would you say it is that you would have needed?
Honestly, I don't think anything would have helped. Anyone who is going through this honestly just needs self-growth. They need to work on themselves, and that's what I needed.
Yeah. So is it someone who's maybe like listening to this who maybe as a child going through something similar, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, as a parent, is there like what could they?
Now that you're a bit older and have gone through that.
It's a tough one.
What could I have done better?
Try to find where I was coming from. Even though I look back and think, whoa, she was an idiot because of TikTok and everything. And I genuinely look back and think, wow, she could have done so much, but she just didn't want to. I think anyone, it sounds terrible, but even coming from me when I had my own part of it, genuinely think I just enjoyed being depressed.
Do you think that's what it is with these kids? A lot of them kind of enjoy it a little bit, and then it becomes a spiral that goes out of control.
You worded it to me once, and it made me understand it. It was something about a chemical in the brain that's released, and it makes you like feel a lot more than happiness does. I think that's why. I don't think it really comes down to attention.
Yeah, it's more of the dopamine release.
And well, when you look back, what would you say that you could have done?
So at that time with Eve, as I said, we'd gone through a lot the years before. We'd just gone through a lot with her, and then she'd been going through personal changes with her own health. And unfortunately, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I believe I'd had fibromyalgia a long, long time. And I'd gone through extensive tests. And my issue was, for me personally, that I couldn't help her because I was trying to help myself. And there were times where I had to be selfish and say, Eva, not today. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to support her. That is really hard to navigate when you've got two people who are unwell mentally, and they're mentally, in a rut. So even though Eva doesn't know, I don't know if she does know, but she's about to find out if she doesn't. After this incident, I attended a program called the Parenting Puzzle, and it was all about how we can understand children better, and it's a really good program. I've got to be honest, if anybody ever gets offered to do it, I found this 12-week program for 3 hours on a Wednesday. It changed my life. It helped me step back and see things in a different perspective. Little things that we did there helped her with how she was feeling. And I think looking out toward things like that maybe you could join on, and also create, I went into a community full of people who all had difficult children. Some of these children with ADD, some of these
Support
children
network.
just a support network, yeah. But the problem is, it's not very, it's not put out there. And I didn't know that there's a van that goes around where we live locally. I call it the child. Yeah. I call it the what's it called?
Yes, van.
Yeah, Bob Chitty Bang Bang, the
Oh.
child snatcher.
Yeah.
I call it the child snatcher van, right? Because he got a van, and it's colourful, and it picks up kids and takes them to the top of where we live. And it's like a community centre, and it's all to do with mental health and kids who are in poverty and can't afford to do things, and they go out sailing, or they'll go out to, anything that's going on. It's a really good thing. It's called YEPS. That was literally 3 streets away, and I never knew that. That's stuff I didn't know about.
Yeah.
So these local things need to be pushed before these kids end up in these messes. And actually, maybe after what Eva is saying, then maybe they need to build a part of school where they discuss social media a lot more. Like editing of photos, how they're not real, and how these things are pretend, like maybe even sit there and have kids edit a photo of someone on an editing app and be like, oh, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, to show them this is not real. Everything online is only what people want you to see.
They honestly, so there's a class in this PSE, like about sex ed, and I think that mental health should be included in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You don't think it should be its own section altogether?
Maybe, but I just can't see that fitting as a lesson. Like, it'd have to fit into, like, sex ed, because that includes the body, like, you know, finding yourself.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that
To be
was
honest, sex
meant,
ed different for me.
yeah.
And it was really different in our
It was really different in our time.
I'll be honest, I think even sex ed classes now, I don't have it now. I think in my school it's from year 7 to 8 and then it just stops.
Yeah.
But they weren't teaching it. I know it's awkward, but people do need to know about that thing, like them things. Because in my class, there was always like all them fun and games things. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't sex ed. It was basically a free lesson. And that needs to be sorted out in school, I think. Because kids are now like doing stuff and have no idea what's going on. Like,
well, the other thing we did that when all this happened is obviously she was in the crisis and she waited and we had CAHMS, was it? Come visit or social services. Somebody came and they put her into like
family.
Oh, resilient families, that was it.
My daughter's just been referred to Virginia.
So I guess we've had some people in resilient families who've been meh, right? But we were very fortunate around this time to have had an amazing woman. I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name really, but she was amazing, right? And do you remember?
Jamaica name.
I would. But let's call her B because her first name was beginning with a B, so we'll call her B. And she was amazing. She did a lot of art therapy with you, and that really helped you, didn't it? I found
What I found, it wasn't. So we didn't she didn't originally just go, oh yeah, let's do some art. It was more of like, what's your interests, what makes you feel better, and then
finding what worked for you.
Yeah.
She was amazing, and she was coming to our home, and she's comfortable, and even be in her pajamas, or if she was in school, it was just so relaxed. And honestly, she was the salt of the earth. She was amazing.
I think that, personally, my experience with her was better than CAHMS. CAHMS don't do a lot.
Yeah. I'll talk about CAHMS in a minute. I just want to talk on resilient families of sex. I'm genuinely interested because my daughter's actually been referred.
Okay.
So my daughter's been having night terrors.
Yeah.
She's 8 years old. And she had one at my house. Me and her mother separated. We share custody, and she's had one at my house about a year ago, and it was terrifying. She was eyes wide open, screaming the house down, but she was sleeping, and it was terrifying. But it happened only once and never since. But other mothers, she's been having it constantly, night after night. So after going to the doctors, etc., we've been referred to resilient families. Now I started doing a bit of research then about, because around the same time, she also did gymnastics every Saturday, and she was getting these certificates. And she has this assembly on a Friday, and she wanted to do a show and tell. So I gave her the certificates to a show and tell. I suddenly saw it dawn on her face, the anxiety that she'd have to stand up in front of the school and show the certificate. She started crying, and she gets certificates back. And then the next time she had gymnastics, she was crying and said she didn't want to go. I instantly saw that she linked that. But my daughter loves art, and that's why
we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that. So I did a bit of research, and I started doing a bit of art therapy with her, and we started drawing emotions, so happy, sad, and putting colours to them, associating colours, and using that to talk about her feelings. So she had different emotions to point to, and also drawing safe spaces, and maybe trying to draw a nightmare as well and things. But yeah, you touched on something really important there. It's about I recognise that my daughter loves art. That is her.
That's what you need to gauge with her.
And I think that's very important. It's about finding the right thing for someone to express themselves. It's all about expressing it, isn't it?
Definitely. I found resilient families a million times better than CAHMS. CAHMS
So
is
can you just tell us what CAHMS is?
the child
adolescent health.
mental health services.
Yeah.
Where do I start with CAHMS? So, Eva's in crisis, we get referred to CAHMS. We don't get seen straight away. We get seen
3 weeks later.
3 weeks later for an initial appointment, and then she was then seen again 7 weeks later. That's when she could start, because they didn't have time, which was fine. We did an assessment of the house, all knives, tablets. We literally had plastic forks, plastic knives, no tablets in the house unless they were locked. Everything was hidden. The whole of the house had to be proofed for my 12-year-old daughter. It was like baby proofing all over again, extreme style. It was just a lot. And Cam said, do this until you see us. So that was really difficult because we had to change our life and we were just waiting for this appointment with CAHMS. And we were in limbo. We get to CAHMS. Eva, did you like your first worker?
No, I think it maybe was the first or the second. So, no, what it was, the first one was a crisis one for a bit.
That's it. And then you went on to a guy?
No, a woman. And I was comfortable with her. And, well, it took a while for me to get comfortable. That's the issue.
Yeah.
When I finally got comfortable and I came in and I was deciding that day, like that week I was going to open up and actually talk. New worker, it went on for a bit. Every time I was about to get comfortable, just proof, new worker, and that's Cam's problem.
Yeah, they can't seem to keep the staff members there for whatever reason, and these children are having sessions, and they're wasting sessions because naturally they don't open up. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't open up to their own mothers. So why would they open up to a stranger? They don't know. And then after she got comfortable and was beginning to get comfortable, they would then be like, oh, sorry, I'm moving section, I'm moving in the NHS, here's another worker. And it became
the last one I had was, I think he was my favourite one.
Yeah, he was a bit mad at him, but he was good.
Yeah, he was
ADHD, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was very 100 miles an hour and he was really talkative and fun. But that's what I needed. I didn't need someone to sit there and be like, oh, no, just push me to open up. He never pushed me.
So you used to talk.
We had times where we spoke about like films and my favourite films, and we'd go on about what would happen in these and like who our favourite characters were. He never pushed me to speak about anything.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about him.
And we only had him for another 5 weeks, and then he was moved again.
And then he had to.
So it was at that point we disengaged with CAHMS because I thought we can't do this. You can't. It's not fair for you to be in and out like that. They say it takes at least 20 sessions of therapy. So you have to have at least 20 sessions of therapy for your counsellor, therapist, whatever, to understand the way you think. And that could be just talking crap. It could just be talking about different things, flattering, so that they get to understand your thought process, so that they can go in then and give you real therapy.
Yeah.
These kids are only offered 6 to 12.
Yeah.
And most of that, they flit it in between different people.
Yeah.
We would get called regularly, oh, by the way, we haven't got a worker, or we don't have an appointment, or it might be 3 weeks, might be 5 weeks. It was a really bad service.
There was another time when I remember you complaining about it. There was the women in the, what's it called?
In the reception.
Mm.
Yeah. So one time in CAHMS, and this is when we disengaged, wasn't it? This is when I pulled you out. She had gone in for a session, and I was in the reception of the office. I was kind of set back from the little window they have, the slidey old-fashioned window. Phone call rings, you can hear it, because it's only a glass window, and the woman's like, oh, I can really hear that. She went, oh, yes, ma'am, that's no problem. And I thought, I don't know why I heard that bit. I just did. It was just because it seemed a bit fake to me. It was very loud, like, oh, no problem. And I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting in the reception listening to you again. And she puts the phone down, and she turned around to the peer at work and just said, these mothers do my head in. They obviously don't need the counselling to be cancelling a service like that last minute. why is she even bothering? And I just lost it because I was so angry because only a week before.
No, there was also a time where you said they were slagging off a mother for bringing multiple times.
Multiple times to an appointment, and they were just like, oh, we're busy. You know, I viewed him a couple of times, and in the end I did put a formal complaint in because I said, none of us want to be here. No, not one parent wants to be sitting in this office with their child. And for you to do that, and I heard it, okay, bear in mind, the week before this, we had to cancel our appointment because Eva was just too unwell to even come. And I was too unwell to facilitate bringing her because of my own problem. So I made sure I told these women that there are other problems that come with these kids. It's not just the kids, the whole family is suffering. And the fact that they're so insensitive is disgusting. And the fact I heard it is even worse. And I made a formal complaint. Well, the red carpet come out every time we went after that, didn't they, really? They couldn't be more nice. But it's no point. The more they did that, the more I thought, this is just not good. It just, I felt like we were a problem in a place, so we shouldn't have had to ever feel like a problem. It should have been a place of calm and, you know, understanding, and she's in there trying to get her therapy. I'm not 100% happy with that either. So I just said to her, Eva, do you think this is working for you? I said, because I've got life insurance and I've got therapy in the life insurance. I said, I think we'd be better off going private. Because right now, I don't think you're getting what you need.
We didn't end up going private in the end, though. I don't.
CAHMS, I think...
Honestly, I don't think we helped at all.
I think you got better when you left CAHMS.
I genuinely think the only thing that was helpful about CAHMS was wanting to get better so I could get out of it.
I'm going to be honest. I think the best thing about CAHMS was they got you out of school. You were like,
yeah,
you were like not being in school.
I used to purposely arrange my appointments for like 11 with like Greg. That's
certain
man. His name was Greg.
So there we are.
I might have just cut that out.
No, it's alright.
So how old are you now then, Eve?
14.
So as a 14-year-old girl, what would you say is the biggest threat to a 14-year-old girl's mental health in today's age?
Says we know, like, is school, honestly everything about school, people, pressure, the work, and
picking topics. I think that's nuts that you have to do that so young. That was stressful for you.
Yeah, in my opinion, the school system is way too, like, young. It needs to be older, but a story for another time.
No, it's not. We can file now.
Really?
I will say, when we disengaged from CAHMS, I'm trying to think of the timeline now. You got really unwell mentally, but you hadn't got worse, but she hadn't got better. And it was
in the same place. Like, yeah, I was just as depressed, honestly. I just wasn't gonna do anything to myself because of what was happened.
Yeah. And I obviously had to take a lot of time off work because I had to make sure that if she was coming home, I was there. She was not in that house because she was at risk. Being on her own was a risk. Everything she did was a risk. If she had a bath, it was a risk because would she drown herself? Everything we did, I was living on pins, and that everything she did was a risk. So it was around that time, I took time off work, and I said to you, just quit school. Just quit. And you wanted to quit, because I thought it's not serving you well. These people around you are not helping. All this drama is not helping. And we took, I gave her what she wanted, and I took her out.
Yeah, that was around February last year. So I had a big drama with all the girls, because girls my age, well, everyone really, they're all horrible. Everyone's out for themselves. And, well, I didn't want to go back. I was being, this is just like looking in on what teenage girls are nowadays. Because of social media, the groups, any group that my name was in, they were obviously like searching up my name and seeing what groups I was in. They were contacting me through groups that were on like 5 years ago. We haven't spoken on. There was WhatsApp, there was TikTok, Instagram, no caller ID, and that's another big problem, no caller ID. Everyone, like, you can call anyone with no caller ID, and I was getting harassed through it all. I had to turn my phone off for like weeks.
We'd be sitting in the house, minding our own business, have a tea, and she would all of a sudden, phone would go off, and it would be a group that she was in,
a bunch
at
of
10
things.
years old. But this person wants to connect with Eva just for the fun of it, give her some shit, and it start all over again. So we can't even be in our own house and enjoy our own space and have peace. And that's kind of world we're living in now. We got no peace. If these kids want to harass you, they can. And so we changed your number at that point, took you up to school. I said,
I had time off school for 4 months, and I couldn't go to Cardinal because I had too many problems, and to be honest, that's what they said. And I didn't really want to go there anyway. It was way too close to Hawthorne. I was like at risk of
still seeing these people in our
because
local
I
area.
was being threatened like with violence. Like, that's how scared I was. Ponty High, same. I couldn't go there because there's too many people who know each other. And I went further away. It's the whole reason I have so far travelled to get to school now. It's because I was scared of these girls. And no one should be scared of people. Like, there's threats just flying around. There's people my age now walking around with like most random stuff, with like vaping, smoking.
Well, some people are carrying
knives,
Knives.
machetes, like.
Yeah. Well, knives. They can say it's machetes.
I don't know. So what I've heard from some of my friends, and
No, they do walk around with, potentially dangerous things.
they do definitely do that. I've seen people like, so
So we had 4 months off school.
Yeah.
She wanted it at the time, and I kind of thought, I'm just going to give the kid what she wants. Because at this point, I was just like, whatever you need. I was like,
I find the 4 months off, actually time off school, is not a good thing. Like the attendance was like,
it still is not great, but
I find time off school though, it helps me like rewire myself, and like the time off is where I became a totally different person. She will tell you, I went from like depressed, everything to I say like confident now. Like I focused on myself because I had no one around me, and I focused on my passion, which was dance.
which you lost due to COVID. You lost the passion.
Yep.
Because of depression.
And other things.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna process.
You were just saying that.
Yeah, what did you do in that time, in that 4 month period, working on yourself?
I honestly just sat down. I didn't do anything. I wasn't even on my phone.
Well,
and I think that helps.
Yeah, massively. So we changed the numbers, so there was none of this. And I did say, there's no going out with your friends. If you can't go to school, you don't go out. You're isolated. And you start
I didn't even want to go out.
No, you didn't, to be fair. But the agreement was you are starting again. There's none of this going out, connecting with people. I wanted to look inwards, focus on yourself. You went for massage. You went for manipulation. Didn't know. We did, we did all the things she wanted to do. She wanted her nails done, she had them done. She wanted her hair done, she had it done. Anything that she wanted within reason was all we focused on in that time, in the hope that she would gradually come out of it. And it worked. It really did work.
Like, I wouldn't even say you helped. It's like you did help, obviously.
But you did the work.
But exactly, and that's what I mean when like I get asked, what do you think people would need when they're going through what I was going through? It's honestly just yourself. But like, I genuinely believe it would just happen at the right time. Like it was so unexpected. It's just out of nowhere, these girls just came at me, and I left school for months, and I think that time not being around like toxic people, the time to myself, and I just didn't go on my phone a lot because I had no reason to, and I didn't really want to, or I wasn't in.
And you had changed your number, so there was less of this coming through, wasn't it? You made new accounts on everything. You put accounts on private, and I do think that was important. I'm trying to think. Also, going back into dance helped you. That helped you have an outlet, didn't that?
Yeah. I put all my emotions into dance. And that's another reason why I love it a bit, is because anything I'm feeling about like past, current situations, anything, any like anger, I just put it into dance, and that's why I love it so much. I can just hit my arms and everything, and not hit someone, but like it lets it all out.
Man, I like dancing, different type of dancing. Not so elegant as yours, but no. We did really have fun. What kind of dance? Breathing, stomping.
Let's just stomp it out.
Stomping it out. I mind what else with that. I don't know where either. Yeah. So, I'm just trying to think now. What else? Like it just. I think. Oh, that was it for me. I think really got to it in the end was how bored she was. Right. She might disagree, but I think over time, I genuinely enjoyed my time. No, you did. No, you did. But there was a time you got there and you were just like, I think I'm ready to go back to school. And I was just like, are you? I don't think you are. And then
I don't even think
driving
it
out
was a case
to
of boredom, though. It was just like,
you was bored, Eve. You got to a point where you were like, I need to go back to school. And that was when I was like, then you will go back then. Do you know what I mean? I think she needed to be so at the bottom and be bored as hell and totally have nothing to do because their minds are young and they're busy, and she needed to have nothing to create a space where she was like, I want that.
Yeah.
Because up until then she didn't want to go to school, she didn't want to leave the house, so this was positive. We got her a new school, she met new friends and you connected with some old ones, didn't they, with that new school, and it meant that I think that was where she started to climb up further and further, going back to school.
On the upward spiral.
Yeah, she was slowly on the upward spiral. But until she came to me and said, I want to go back to school, as I said to the council and the attendance officers, she won't be attending. Because to me, you can sit there and say, it's law to go to school. It might be law, but this is my child. This is a child who tried to take her own life. If I let you tell me what I do with my child, where would she be? Yeah. She wouldn't be here now. She would not be here.
Yeah, school does play a big part in my mental health, and I think everyone else is around me. They don't take it seriously. Like, they genuinely just don't care. Or like,
you did Elsa when you were younger, mind as well. After after we left your dad, and that was really good.
That was the teacher though. I found it was just that teacher. I really enjoyed being around her. When she left and there was a new teacher, I wasn't interested because she didn't understand me like she did.
So, and would you like to see more of that in schools, like an officer or a space maybe for meditation?
I think this genuinely should just be, I wouldn't say like a person there, because talking to someone sometimes it's just, you don't need anyone. It sounds terrible, but you don't want to either. Even like, is I really just the TikTok is like, you don't want to generally. Sometimes like I'm still like that now. Even my emotions now, I just rather not talk about it. Obviously, I'm not depressed, but like there's times where I just don't feel like talking about it, and other people are like that too. I think there just needs to be a space, honestly, just a little comfy space where it can just relax, honestly, even have a kid.
There is a couple of schools like that. Have you employed in your new school?
No.
It's called the Hub, though. It was called the Hub in the other school.
No, don't have it.
And it's a shame, isn't it? 'Cause that's something, and they even talked about it as young as 12, putting it on mental health drugs.
Yeah.
They wanted to push drugs down Eva's neck in CAHMS. They were like, we think we should. And, well, it just wasn't an option. It was an option, but it wasn't going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I spent all my life on these tablets and only just come off for myself. I was like, no way are you going to go through that.
So what are the main things that you do now then to cope with your mental health?
I don't know. We got a better connection now. You talk to me a lot.
I just say dance. I think I brought all my emotion and my headspace into my passion, and
He was to express it in some way, and whether that's dance.
obviously because I'm not really a person to talk, and not many people are. Here's where everyone my age is kind of go. This is another reason I find they don't have a solid sport or anything they use to, do you know what I mean? So like they have nothing to take it out on or put it into. And with dance, I found that helped a lot because I put it all into that, and it just left me.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about your mental health in the last couple of years. Can you just take me back to your childhood? Because obviously this is trauma. Can you take me back to your earliest memory of any trauma that you've experienced?
So the earliest one, which probably a lot of people will relate to, even like your age, older, younger, my age, was my dad and our family. So, well, my dad was quite aggressive. He would do things to my mother, and well, I remember him even now. I was I could literally have been like 18 months old to 3 years old, and I remember a lot of things that went on, and yeah. So,
But how do you think that affects you?
well, it affected me because, well, it felt like I couldn't really talk to him or any other father figure that I had. So, and men in general, I lost my trust for men, and like and that's a big problem as well. Like I know a lot of people my age who, well, struggle with their fathers, split up parents, and who are abusive, and it's just like, I think it really affects everyone's views on men in general, like, and how they speak.
I think I'm going to add for you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think it confused her because she claims that she was as young as 18 to 24 months, roughly there. She got memories of things that happened to me. And when she have said as she got older what she saw to her dad, he would shut her down, gaslight her, that never happened, heckle her, you know, and that confused her growing up because she remembers these things. And I think that's why she lost her trust in men. Because she thought, well, why do I remember it? And I wasn't going to be that mother to say that didn't happen because I don't believe it's good to lie. If she's telling me she remembers something, as wrong as I know I've been betrayed, okay, I've always said that we would work through whatever she delivers to me because that's her memories, that's her truth. And I was hailed a monster for that. Social services got involved. And this is the thing with social services. The woman's always blamed because they're not protecting the child. But honestly, whenever I broke up with her dad, it was more hassle than what it was worth. He would knock the door early hours, and because we lived in like a terrace street, everybody would be woken up if he was in the street because he'd be banging on the door and he'd break my cars. He was hell. It was actually easier to live with the monster than it was to not live with the monster because I could predict what he was doing when he was with me. I developed a skill of he's walking in the door now and I can sense his footsteps. I know what kind of mood he's in. He's at 11 pints, he's at 10 pints. It was easier actually to live like that than it was to live without him because, and she did adore him as well at the time. It was her father. And as she grew up and tried to maintain a relationship with her dad and tried to open up to him, he just shut her down. And I think that's what really confused her. And do you agree with that?
Yeah. He would dismiss all my emotions even to the point where I vividly remember watching Jurassic Park with him. And when I went to bed, and honestly I was petrified. I was having nightmares I was hearing things like fucking dinosaurs stomping outside the window. And I was only about 8, and that's, like, it was scary for me. So I kept going down the stairs and being like, Dad, I'm scared. I'm scared. Stop being dramatic, Eva. I was getting shut down.
Be silly.
Yep, don't be silly, you're being daft.
Even his
And
new
even his partner.
Yeah. Even his new partner, he's just don't be silly. And she's a teacher who works with kids. Well, not teacher, but she works with children and should know better.
But I find with her, I think she was shut down herself because, well, if she went against anything he'd say, then...
But you can see the pattern because you saw it happen.
Yeah. Honestly, it took about 4 hours to even get anyone, and I remember going, just go up and give her a crutch or something. And, well...
So she had to tell your father?
I had to tell him, just go on, like... And only about 5 minutes. And I think that was, like, it was like 4 in the morning. That time they were in bed, and I had to knock the door and bed. I'm really scared.
Whereas the problem is you, in my house, if she did that, she'd be in bed with me. So she was used to me going...
I wasn't allowed in their room. That's a knock, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
So do you think any of this trauma as a younger child had any influence on your mental health growing up?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really a problem until I noticed it. Like, when I got older and I put more thought into it, and I realised, wow, like, and it really confused me with my dad. Because here's the problem with people who also have split parents. They can find... Even though their dad's difficult, they kind of crave that attention from their dad, and they just want a relationship with their father. And, like, that was the hard part for me, because I was like, but, like, I wanted to talk to him. Like, even now, I still do, but it's just, can't.
Do you think I did the right thing when I stopped your contact with Dad?
Yeah.
I did.
It honestly got to a point where I remember being in our old house, and I had her ex-partner now, his mother putting on one of my shoes, and her mother putting on my other shoe. I was kicking my feet, I was hitting them, crying, I don't want to go, please don't make me go. And I was crying all the way up. And when I got all there, he was like, Eva, why didn't you want to come up here? You're just being daft. I do everything for you. I take you out. I feed you.
Everything for you. Yeah, okay.
It vividly remember being outside this pub and being like, I do everything for you. I take you out. We have fun. Do you not enjoy yourself up here? And it was very pushy, like, and if I said I wasn't having fun up there, it was like, well, you're just ungrateful.
Yeah. He's a bit of a... And I did, in the end, at some point, I can't remember when, I just said, you know, that's enough. And I stopped to see him for how many years? 2 years? 3? I just time out completely. We went to court for, like, you know, contact, and I gave him the rope. He hung himself again, continued to let us down. So again, I would kind of pull it in, pull her out. And it wasn't in a, and this is the thing when people go, okay, she's playing games, because that's another thing, I was playing games with my daughter. It wasn't, I was trying to gauge how much was too much for her, because I did actually want him to be involved, because he had a nice partner, from what I thought, that was, you know, working in a school. So I thought, well, she should be stable. So what's the reason, you know? And I tried my best, but it just got to a point where she was too affected, and I cut it off for quite some time. And then, what age did you get back in contact with him? Because I was recently 11 when he came to the house.
First time was 11 when he... I remember this as well. I got out the shower, I was walking upstairs in my towel, went on my phone, no caller ID. I answer thinking it's one of my mates just being daft, do you know what I mean? And answer the phone. Hi Eva, his dad. I just dropped my phone because I was like, I think I genuinely smashed my throat. It was on the floor and I could hear him going, hello, hello. And I was frozen. It was just...
Why do you think you reacted like that?
Because of the memories for me, even with me, what I went through with him and you, hearing his voice again after years, it triggered something in me. I was like, into shock. I was stuck there, like for...
Yeah. And he did come to that. He offered to take you out, didn't he?
Yeah, come to the house and I'd just talk about everything. And after years of denying everything, the right scene, I've admitted it. Only briefly though.
Can I ask, how did that feel? After all these years and finally realising that you're older.
I was just sat there. I was just like, I was thinking about it, like, why now? I think I even said it, like, why now?
What was his answer?
I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie. But
there's a bit of a kick in the teeth, isn't it? Funny things.
So what's your relationship like with him now?
I don't talk to him. Well, there was June last year, I was in contact with him, and here's my problem. I don't think I'd actually ever go back to talking to him. It's only my brother that keeps me there. He's got a kid there, and well, I don't want him to go out without his sister when he's got one. I don't want him to go out with him, given I didn't want to be involved with him, because, like, I do. And honestly, that was the only thing keeping me there. And, well, what was it? It was like he said something about you. And this is what it was, growing up. It was always back and forth, or tell Mammy she's fat, or tell Daddy's. It was both of you, really. And
I did a little bit, yeah, at some point.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't help myself either.
I stopped doing that when you were a bit bigger. Like, I think you were around 8 when I realised this was not right. But naturally, I was young, being a mother. And when she should come to me and say, Daddy said you this, I should tell Daddy. Do you know what I mean? And I learned quite quick in therapy, I really stopped doing that. I stopped doing that. And then she would come in. The one day she came in, I was quite a big girl then. And she came in, I was in the bar, so I was really vulnerable. And she, don't know if she remembers this, but she came in, she went, sorry, but you did do this. She went, you're quite fat, I know. And she's a child, right? Kids don't lie. And I was like, that's him, that is. And I didn't hate her for him, because I know she's a child, and I was big. I was a big girl. And I said, normally, I was like, and I wanted to, but I went, am I eventually a daddy calls it back all the time? He is right. And I was like, do you, I remember the way I responded. I had a minute. I did the whole therapy thing. I went in myself and I gave myself a few seconds before I responded. And I said, do you think that was nice then? You know, the daddy said that. And she went, I don't know. I said, well, would you like it if you were called fat? And it made her think. And the more I did this with her, the more she worked herself away from her father. And it made it easier for me to disconnect him from it, because what he was doing was the opposite to what I was doing, and I was creating the safe space of, well, if that's where you want to act, Eva, I don't bring you up like that. And she was in conflict, but this also was traumatizing for her. It was confusing, and he doesn't see that. He doesn't see that was really damaging for Eva.
So how would you describe the state of your mental health now?
I'm quite stable now. I've done all my work in 10 head off. And that's why I think time off school is important, because, like, just school... Yeah.
Chaos, do you think social services pushed us together or pushed us apart? Their involvement?
Pushed us apart, I think.
Yeah.
Well, like,
they were very meddling.
Honestly, on every, like, sort of thing we had, like, support, like, police weren't helpful with my father, social services honestly did nothing.
Do you remember the time they came to your school?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember much of when I was younger with social services. I remember when I was like,
What about around the health then?
yes, around time with hospital. So, let's not go into the conditions and stuff what happened with me, but the way it was handled, it wasn't helpful. Like I had the doctors asking me really outrageous questions, and I was only young, like, and
They would ask you things like,
and did mum give you powder?
yeah, quite coercive questions. So leading questions. Basically, I was being hailed as somebody with Munchausen's by proxy. She wasn't well, but they, rather than admit she was unwell, and they lied. They said that I was unwell and I was making her unwell. And the reason she was unwell was because I had Munchausen's. So what they did was, to protect themselves, Health and Social Services demonised me. They were turning up unannounced. I mean, they're allowed to, under S47 inquiries, to make inquiries, but they absolutely should be telling me if they're interviewing my daughter in school. They should be letting me know that. Or if they leave, they should let me know that. Because I didn't trust them, I sent Eva in with a recorder. And we recorded them. Because she was coming out to these meetings and being like, I don't remember what they said, and I wanted to know. And the questions that they were asking were coercive and leading, and they were using it.
Yeah. And I think from what I remember, you were convinced that she had a specific condition. They was convinced that you had Munchausen.
Yeah, it was.
And I think you ended up in Great Ormond Street then, and you was proved to be
that
right.
Was. Yeah, I was right. Yeah. And they knew I was right. Health knew I was right.
No, they knew I was right because, well, this is the bad thing about it. It was very up and down. You have it, you don't, you delusional. I was on the ward one time and I was sleeping, and you said, like, they came in and they were just like kicking off, saying there's nothing wrong with her, even though yesterday there was. Why am I in here? Why am I in this bed in a hospital dress, or like all a mess for no reason? If there's something wrong with me,
you were ill, and we were locked there for we were locked in the hospital for 12 days. We weren't on tour.
No, that was near us in.
No, it was 12 days we were locked in the hospital. Yeah, we could leave. That one time, I couldn't go up for food. I could, but I wasn't, because the one time I left, I can't remember how old you were, 9, 10. One time I left, one of the mothers who I'd said, do me a favour, if they come in here, you tell me. They'd been in. As soon as I walked out, they were in there, coercing her, trying to get in her head, trying to get her to admit to things that didn't happen, which is obviously sent me raging, and I ended up losing it. And because I was looking like a nutty person, I was feeding into their narrative, and then it was a mess. It was a big mess. And Eva actually said to the social services, my mum embarrasses me when she does that. And they tried to use it against me. They said, oh, you embarrass your daughter. And I was like, well, I never wanted to embarrass my daughter.
I look back, I don't feel embarrassed now. I just know they were doing everything you could.
No, but back then, Eva, you would have felt embarrassed because I was kicking off.
Well, they're so hot. I remember it was that time when we were in the hospital, and doctor came in, nothing wrong with her, walked off, and you obviously chased him out the ward and was like...
I did chase him down. I chased him.
She was screaming, and, well, I'd be the same when I had my kids, and if I was going through the same, like...
Thanks, Eva. I'm glad you think so. Because it makes me feel
like, well, that's...
Yeah, well, nobody else was going to fight for you. And I'm glad you see it like that now.
No, I am happy you did. Like, obviously, it was embarrassing at the time, and I was like, well, I just want to, like...
Yeah, because everybody was looking their ass, and naturally, you didn't want to be, in that position anyway. Never mind we got everyone else looking you at the beds next to you, looking at us. It was embarrassing, and I apologise, but... we got where we needed to be in the end.
Yeah, if we didn't fight so hard, I wouldn't be the way I am now. I'd still be struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We've gone to a lot. We've done loads of work. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah. Is there anyone, maybe girls around your age listening, what would be your message to them about kind of mental health and the journey that you've been on?
Can I just want to say something? I knew she was going to say yes.
Yeah.
I knew she was going to say it. I knew it. Explain what you mean.
What I mean by that is just kind of like stop being sorry for yourself. Just do something about it. Oh, I'm so great. Do something about it.
Go to bed then.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I know. And she is right. Like, you know, we had this conversation the other day, and she said, "Mum, to be honest, all these girls need to do is just get a grip." Because, and you
Because just being fannied about it, and it's just like, get a grip. There is so much you can do. Because, like, I look around
so much.
I look at them and I see them how I saw myself back then. It's just like, they don't realise how fucking stupid they sound. They just act, they're like, my next to that, honestly, is not. It's really not.
Well, look at what you've been through, and you've managed to do it. I think that's your point, isn't it? But I think you could be quite inspirational, and hopefully one day you will discuss other things. Maybe when you're a bit older and you're not in the school environment, you might feel ready to.
Another reason I moved schools, obviously, was because of all this. Then other people knew about my problem, and it was kind of,
You were bullied?
I was bullied as such. It was kind of used against me.
Yeah.
And like, sort of friends are. And that's why I'm worried about, like, it was kind of all a fresh start by new school then.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you can't give people advice and suck it up. But
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is,
I'm saying just
do
like,
the work on yourself. Find the thing that gives
yeah,
you the release.
like,
Is that, yeah?
find something you're passionate about to throw all your feelings in. And
You write poems, don't you? Like me.
yeah, I don't do a diary. I put it all in a poem.
That's what I do. I write poems.
Because I find, like, finding words to rhyme is getting my mind off.
And then when you
Yeah,
read
yeah.
it, it's like a release. Because it's like
Yeah.
a piece.
Yeah, you need to find the right outlet, I think. So
Like, just putting all your passion into something that you, do you know what I mean? Obviously, that you care about. Like, that helps, I think.
What about people who feel like they can't approach their parents? I felt like that with you, so what changed? What made you? Could you have written me a letter?
No. I think my self-growth is well.
I think you both did the work there. I think it comes down to...
Yeah, I
both
do
people
think.
doing the work.
I do think this is the problem with parenting, right? Well, such a thing of how we're going to parent, but actually, you know, when you go from something like this, you have to literally pivot your whole idea of parenting. Did I ever think I'd be that mother that would tell the council, Duan, she's not coming? You know, every week at one point, the council was attending to check that she was okay. Because they were like, well, she's not in school, we just need to see her.
Honestly, everyone thought I was dead. I think
they thought she was
when
dead.
I bought CS, I posted on Instagram and like when I moved schools, and I had everyone like reply to her like, I thought you were dead, and I was like, no, I'm here.
But that's kind of the thing I wanted. I wanted her to just wipe the slate clean, start again, and yeah, she says it helps. But the council would come in, and the attendance team was going, and we had the threats of the courts, and that. I didn't think I'd ever been that mother. I honestly didn't think I'd be that mother. But for me, when you've got to look at your child, and you've got to think, right, what is it they need? And do you know what? Within reason, you should give them what they want. You know, because if you think it's, try it. Try it, and if you feel like, I mean, it's not forever.
Yeah.
It's really not. I mean, if it's gone over years and years, and you've taken it too far, like, I didn't think it'd be 4 months, I'll be honest. I thought I was in this for a good year. So I actually think it's good that it only took 4 months. And I actually think maybe all kids just need a 6-month break at some point between 10 and 14 where they can readjust. Because she started her periods at 10. And her emotions came and all the triggers came. And then she was meeting up with boys and she didn't trust men. So she had all this new surroundings and different people, and she was finding that really hard to navigate, I think. And I think all kids could do with having a 6-month rest from school and people. And I'd love to see, like, the static dance we want to do, things like that for kids. You know, things like meditative spaces and
personal development.
Just personal development. Between 10 and 14, I don't think you should be picking your options. You should be doing, like we were saying before, about sport. It's lovely to say, yeah, go and find a sport. But what about them people who are in working poverty? Not only got poverty, we've got working poverty where people can't afford to put these kids in sport. If the government would facilitate the sport within school hours, these kids could actually develop a lot better and then pick their subjects when they're older and stay in school a bit longer. Because I actually don't think it's normal to drive a car at 17. Why can't it be 18, 21? You know, they're not grown up enough really, so they could be just doing their education a little bit later, and right up until then it should be all about self-development, looking inwards, relationships with others, therapy, whatever works. And I think that will help these kids. The pandemic we have, because we've got a pandemic obviously with mental health, but the kids one is huge. The list for CAHMS is massive.
I was on there for years, and I only got transferred because they were like, whoa, she just...
Yeah, that's what happened actually. She was on that list 2 years or 18 months, and it was only because she did the suicide look. They rushed it through as crisis. Pretty shouldn't have to come to crisis, but it did, you know? So yeah, I just like to hope if anyone was listening that they would maybe, not take my advice, but just sit back and maybe rethink your strategy, because it's hard and it's individual to each person, to each kid.
Yeah.
It really is. Can't just have this one-size-fits-all parenting.
Yeah.
It really is. Look, you've seen me with Jonah. How different is it that I am with Jonah than I am with her?
Yeah.
I have to really give him my time, and he takes up a lot of time.
I'm exactly the same with my two.
Yeah.
They're not far from age, 2 years between them. Aria, very anxious. I have to compare him to completely very sensitive and gentle with Phoebe, very ADHD and very doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Very different style of parenting.
And you've got to, and it's something you learn, you don't know. It is something you learn, and you get it through going to these things like the parenting puzzle or resilient families and picking up maybe self-help, like go online, research these things, find forums, read books. There's lots of people who've written books who have been through so much, and you can learn from, and then you'll find your way. And I think it speaks volumes for Eva. Like, it's changed her life. I'm just glad that she's here, and I'm just proud of everything she is, because I think she is the most mature and well-rounded 14-year-old I am ever come across.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he's 14.
Everyone says, even like my looks, I look older apparently, and
you definitely act older, especially when you're cracking jokes.
14 and going on 24 apparently. So
yeah, I think it's really inspiring that you've come on the pod, and both of you opening up about your journey. I think can help a lot of people, young girls your age and mothers who are going through this, medical something similar. I think can be really helpful. Thank you for opening up. One thing I wanted to ask is, do you have a charity in mind that you might want to nominate?
Yeah, so what we do, we put post this, and then if people want to donate us help, we're going to put the charity up for that and say anything you'd like to. And to be honest,
just to let you know, Great Ormond Street Hospital is a charity.
Yeah.
Did you understand? Okay, I'll ask the question again. Let's ask it. So, is there a charity you have in mind that you might want to nominate? And we'll put the link in the description if anyone wants to donate.
Great Ormond Street Hospital.
No problem. We'll put the links to that in the description, and also any self-help resources that we can find and come across.
Yeah, actually, I might give you some links for that. I think there's a few useful things that I got. I can't think off the top of my head, but obviously I've got loads from. Well, we'll put them in on the links as fine then.
Yeah.
But no, Eve, thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully one day we can talk more about other stuff, because there's many layers to Eva's story.
Yeah, I'd love to get you back on. I have a feeling you're a little bit like an onion.
Yeah, literally an onion. This is the tip of the iceberg for Eva, to be fair. She could go on a lot, and that's why she is so inspiring. If you were lucky enough to know her personally, you'd know that she is a massive credit. She's a credit to anyone. I'm just super proud of her. And I think one day, hopefully, she will go into that. And if anyone's got any questions, you know, about anything we've discussed, whether that's for me or for Eva or for you, with obviously, you know, with your little ones, like we're open to receive them and answer them. We'll pod again, and maybe we'll have Eva on doing an answer and question situation if we get enough of that in. Do you have that, Eva?
Yeah, you can email questions at spell@traumaand.com, or through any of the social media platforms. Just send us a direct message.
Yeah, Nash. Thanks for having us on, Matt, with Eva.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for listening if you're still with us. Thank you.
We'll see you again. Bye.